Hello everybody, Reuben here from RespShop, and today we're doing something I've been looking forward to for quite a while. This is the opportunity to really engage with you guys, get to know you a bit more, get to know some of your journey on your CPAP therapy, and you can also tell me exactly what you think of me and my opinions, because you might want to shatter them to pieces. What we're going to do is we're going to go through every single CPAP that's for sale, be it an at-home machine and travel devices, and we're going to look at them and rank them on a tier list, on a scale, and we'll go through what those tiers are. I'm going to give you my opinion. This is fully away from sales pitches, but I will go through all the features of each one, what I like about each machine, what I don't like, who I think that the machine is for, and you can tell me what you agree with and what you disagree with. So let's go take a look at these tiers that I've drawn up. So starting at the bottom, the worst of the worst category that any CPAP machine could go in is run. Yes, do not buy a device if it is in this category. That's my fair warning. You've been warned. Up from that, it's good, but is it good? Yeah, this is the kind of machine that I like. Maybe I really want to like it more, but I can't put it up higher than that because it has some shortcomings that I feel just we can't really avoid or get around of. And oftentimes it's a real shame because they could have been things easily avoided by manufacturers. Up next, we've got perfect for some. Pretty self-explanatory. This could be the perfect machine for you, but it doesn't quite have enough of what it takes to make it into the annals of history and make it into my CPAP Hall of Fame. Yes, only the best of the best are going in here. So I've got the beautiful RespShop.com website up. We're going to look at the machines on here. And let's start with the Breeze Z2, this guy here. Now, I should say I like some things about this machine. It has some pretty unique features that I've been pleased to see have made it onto a travel CPAP. Things like automatic altitude adjustment. If you go trekking up high and you want to have a CPAP machine with you, this will actually change the pressure depending on what altitude you're at, which is pretty cool and pretty unique. There's also some mask leak compensation features on this. So depending on what mask you're using, it will adjust the pressure. And there's some on-screen reminders when you have large mask leaks as well. So these are all really cool things. It's also more affordable than the Transcend Micro and the ResMed AirMini. It is slightly bigger than the AirMini as well, but it does weigh a little bit less. Travel machines, as you might well know, tend to be noisier, but the Breeze Z2 is actually really pretty quiet. And it also has the option of adding a muffler to it as well, if you really do find that the noise of a travel CPAP is quite loud. Bear in mind, there's not the same room for sound abatement foam, so they're doing what they can, and they've done actually pretty well with the Breeze. So where does this land in my tiers? Well, does have some things that I think prevent it from really being up there higher. It doesn't have a removable SD card, and I will say just the buttons, as I use it more and more, they do feel a little bit cheap. The menu's kind of difficult to navigate around. I want to change like the ramp settings, and I always have to go back to the manual to look at how I do that. So I'm going to stick this in. It's good, but is it good? Let me know what you think, if you think that's fair. Okay, up next, talking about small travel devices, let's go to the extreme. We're going to talk about the Transcend Micro. Now this is the smallest CPAP machine in the world. You can stick it in your pocket, throw it in your sling. If you're going on a plane, you can chuck it in your bags. You'll almost forget that you have it. It's very light, it's very portable, big, big kudos. Now what that means is it has lost some of the features that you might get on a unit that's a little bit bigger. For starters, there is micro tubing that you use with the Transcend Micro, and it can be really difficult to breathe against that, especially at higher pressures. There are some cool things about it. There are a couple purpose-made batteries for the Transcend Micro, which again, just make it really handy for when you're traveling with it. But because of the size as well, it is also pretty loud. They do have a muffler for the Transcend Micro, but it is a little bit kind of, I will say, limited in its effectiveness. But there is only 4 buttons on the unit itself, and there's no screen, which can make it a little bit tricky to do what you want to do on the machine. And again, those buttons do feel a little bit cheap and a little bit clunky. So I really, really, really want to love this machine. I think it's got a lot of cool things going for it, but I just can't give it full endorsement in its current way that it is with some of the shortcomings. I'm going to throw it alongside the Breeze Z2, and it's good, but is it good? All right. Up next, let's go with a travel machine that a lot of people know and love. It's definitely the most popular one in this category, and that is, as you've guessed it, a ResMed. How boring. Yes, the ResMed AirMini. Now, I know a lot of people get so frustrated with this machine, they would tear their hair out. If you're like me, too late for that, but it's because it can be so noisy, and it's just coming from the cartridge where the HME capsules are, and it feels very avoidable. And we do have some videos out there that tell you how you can lower this noise, and RespShop also sells a noise dampening kit for the AirMini that you can use. I've made a video on how you would apply each of those items, and it does make a big difference. So if you find the noise difficult, don't throw the machine away. Give it a go first, because you might find that it just changes your night's sleep every night, and that is always going to be worth the few bucks you might need to spend on getting a kit like that. What do I love about this machine? Well, I think as far as travel machines go, it definitely feels like the most premium one. It has an app that is far more multifunctional than any of the other ones on here. And especially when you use a travel machine, that's really important, right? Because you don't have a big screen or a dial or ways to change settings easily on the machine itself. You're kind of more reliant on the app. So I think that's a really good thing that the Mini has going for it. It doesn't have an SD card that's removable, so it can be difficult to use on things like Oscar, and you are limited in that way. So I can't put it in the CPAP Hall of Fame, but I do feel like as a CPAP machine, it does belong in a category above these two. I'm going to put it in perfect for some. All right, to round off the travel devices, we're going to go with the last one here, which is the Apex XT. Now, the Apex XT can be used as a travel device or an at-home machine. There's two parts that are removable on it. You have the humidifier that can be separated from the unit itself, which is pretty cool. It does mean though, if you're using it as a travel device, it is on the bigger side, but also the power brick is actually embedded within the machine housing itself. So that does save taking the power brick separately, and it means you won't lose it, which is nice to have. It does have a very limited menu, but it is easy to navigate that menu, and it has better buttons than I would say either of these two, the Micro or the Z2. It's also really fast and easy to clean it. The lid on the humidifier is so easy to remove, and it gives you full access to it to clean it out, which is actually really helpful. Some water chambers are really kind of difficult to get to all the parts of it, so I do like that. So overall, I think this is a really solid machine. It's also very quiet. We did a test on the quietest CPAP machines in the world, and this was right up there. You'd be surprised. So I think this is a really good device. I'm going to put it in the same category as the Mini. I think this is perfect for a lot of people, actually. All right, so we're done with our travel units. We're going to look at some at-home devices. So we're going to go there on RespShop, and let's start with something that's a bit more to the extreme. We're going to talk about the DreamStation 2. Now, let's be honest, it's trash. This was obviously made by Philips to be done as cheap as possible, that they could mass produce it as much as possible after all the controversies that they had on the DreamStation 1, with all the units getting returned and either repaired or upgraded to a DreamStation 2. Well, this was the upgrade, and it left most people very unhappy. I think it was honestly pretty shameless by Philips, and I can't really endorse it at all. If you're using your own money, do not buy this machine. I think this is quite safe to put in our category of run. All right, up next, we've got the Res Plus Auto CPAP machine. You can see I'm saving the ResMed machines till the end. Cheeky man. All right, so this device is about as low cost for a CPAP machine as you could hope to get, which means it's great for two things. One, you should have this machine or another machine like it as a backup. Because if your main device gets out of action for whatever reason, repair, something breaks on it, you've got a machine you can still use that night. We become kind of reliant on our CPAP machines in order to get good sleep. Don't be left without that for a few days or even weeks if you're having to send your machine in to get repaired, especially with insurance companies involved. Have your own insurance, as it were, by having a replacement device on hand. The Res Plus won't set you back much. It's a great option for that. And who can really complain about it lacking some of the big features when it's a price like this? I mean, it does everything. It does the basics, everything you'd want to do. It's easy to navigate. It's easy to handle. It's quiet. it's a solid option. Actually, the other place that I sometimes recommend people get a Rest Plus is if you're brand new to CPAP therapy. You can use one of these, it won't set you back much. You can decide what's important to you and the kind of features that you care about more, and then you might buy a machine that fits that bill perfectly, and the Rest Plus would then be demoted back to your secondary option. So it's great for that too. So all in all, I do really like this Rest Plus. I'm gonna stick it, it's definitely better than it's good, but is it good? But it can't quite go in the Hall of Fame because it doesn't quite have the longevity that I'm sure some of these other machines do. So it's gonna go in perfect for some. All right, so we have 2 ResMed devices left. I'm going to start with a tried and true favorite. We're gonna talk the ResMed AirSense 10. Now, this is an easy one, and there's not much to say. This has been a favorite unit of people for many years. In fact, a lot of people, when given the choice between the AirSense 10 or the AirSense 11, even though the AirSense 11 is a few years newer, will still choose the 10. It's so easy to use, it's easy to clean the humidifier, it's no mess navigation, it gives you everything you need to know at your fingertips. You still get to use the ResMed app. This is a quality machine. In fact, it's so good that even when the 3G went away, because that's what the modem inside the AirSense 11 was made with, they kept this unit around and called it a card to cloud, which is a nice way of saying you have to take the SD card out and plug it in and do everything manually. But people are still willing to do that because the AirSense 10 is so popular and such a great machine. And guys, I looked this up the other day and it blew my mind. Do you know that the AirSense 10 was released in mid-2014? That's over 10 years ago. It's crazy that this is still our top unit for a lot of people. The CPAP industry really does need to catch up a little bit, but for now, that's pretty impressive, the longevity of that device. I think this is going to be our first induction to the RespShop CPAP Hall of Fame. Yay! Well done, ResMed AirSense 10. Now that leaves us with just one more machine. It's the love it or hate it machine, the ResMed AirSense 11. Now me, personally, I love it. This is my favorite CPAP machine that money can buy. Now I know that with some of you, it has a bit of a bad rep, especially with the water chamber being difficult to fill up and easy to spill. There were some really basic just misses that ResMed had, and we can only hope that on the AirSense 12, ResMed listens to the user feedback, incorporates a new machine that doesn't have those issues, but has a lot of the user experience that the 11 has, because I do think that's really important with CPAP machines. You're going to be using this device every day. It's nice that it looks and feels like a modern device. There's a lot of helpful information on the ResMed app and making sure you're getting the most out of your CPAP unit. It just looks and feels like a much more premium device than anything else on this list. I have to be honest. So for me, while I can't quite put it in the CPAP Hall of Fame, I really want to. And you can tell me if I should do it. I'm kind of hoping that you jump in the comments and say, Reuben, throw it up there. But as it is for now, I think it's perfect for some. Now, I'm one of those people that it's perfect for, but maybe that's not the case for you. So there you have it. That's how all my CPAP machines line up and get ranked. Again, tell me what you think. If this video gets a lot of interactions, let's say within the first week, if this video gets 10 comments, I'll make another video, maybe on CPAP masks this time, but we'll do it live. And you can tell me what you do and don't like and how you like to use your mask and give people advice. That's what this is for. We're building a community here. As always, like the video, subscribe so you don't miss any more, and don't forget, no matter what you're using, machine or mask-wise, sleep